Hi there! Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we are going to be talking about all the books I read in June, and truthfully this is going to be a real short video because I only finished one book this month. Um, so if you're into me giving my opinions on books or just people giving their opinions on books in general, just keep on watching. June. It was not the strongest reading month for me. June was also a pretty busy month, I think, or maybe I'm just making that up in my head. I don't know. But June's also my birthday month and Pride, and I felt like socializing more than I normally do. So there you go. I was also like switch reading quite a bit. So the books that I told myself I was going to finish this month, I didn't. And then I got a book online on my Kindle and I finished that right away. But once you figure out what it is, it's no surprise. So the book I ended up finishing this month is Rouge by Mona Awad. Now, if you know me, one of my favorite books of all time is Bunny by Mona Awad. I love this book. It's so weird. It's fantastic. It is definitely something that's a niche taste, because it is kind of like someone going insane and with a sort of unreliable narrator like that. Like, I don't know. I finished this in like overnight. Like, this was one of the few books where I actually had to keep reading into the night and I wouldn't go to bed, because I had to figure out what happened. So after I read Bunny, which is my favorite book, I told myself I'd read more books by Mona Awad, and so that's why I started reading Rouge. This one is about it kind of makes fun of writing. So this is like about a grad student in a creative writing program, and it makes fun of writing programs. So if you're not somebody who writes, some of the context might go over your head. And I soon found out that the author kind of pokes fun at herself in this book, which, now that I have the full context, makes a little bit more sense. Um, but yeah, this was Bunny. Rouge, and they're all like, well, how am I going to say this? They're all like within the scope of kind of girly horror, which is what I enjoy. And I think, like, as she calls it, there's some books that she's written that kind of fit into like a fairy tale type series. So it is this feminization of madness and horror in a way. So yeah, I'm not really sure what princess is supposed to represent this. If I had to guess, I think it would be like an Alice in Wonderland type scenario. But I'm not exactly sure about that, so don't hold it to me. Even without the fairy tale knowledge, I think this one is super enjoyable. Now, the Rouge one, let me talk about that a little bit more. That is definitely the fairy tale ness. It hits you really hard. It's pretty apparent. So Rouge is a book that is kind of poking fun at the beauty industry and the skincare industry specifically. Um, it is about a young lady who finds out that her mother has passed away, and in going to settle all the affairs, she finds out that her mom used to attend this spa called Rouge, I believe. And the spa is kind of like creepy, and um, she gets all these free treatments, and then she finds out what's actually going on at said spa. Okay, we all got that settled. Um, Even in the beginning, you can tell that the main character is a little off. She is uh, obsessed in every sense of the word with her own skincare routine, and her skincare routine has like a bunch of different steps, at least 20-30 steps, that she does morning and night for different reasons, and has all these products. And even in the way she talks about the products, you can just tell that there's something not going on right. And then she also has certain YouTubers that she watches that she's kind of like obsessed with and has this like a strange sort of dependency on. And their skincare videos, she watches them every night. So yeah. And then in the part of the story is that like there's also like a colorism at play, because our main character is half Egyptian. Um, and her dad was Egyptian, her mother is French Canadian, I think, or French, and is a very pale white lady. And so you see this obsession with beauty, um, between mother and daughter, and this like skewed relationship between mother and daughter, because the mother is beautiful, she has a bunch of men, and she's not necessarily the best mother. because she wants to be like an actress, and so she tries to like kind of sleep with people to get that dream accomplished, I guess. But so there's like colorism, even internalized self-hatred because of that, because this person is unable to see their own beauty because they're stuck in the shadow of their white mother. um so that's interesting. This story is very, very clearly supposed to be kind of like Snow White. That is named and referenced continuously throughout, but really heavy-handed in the beginning, even in the prologue. I don't know why the prologue was there. If it was me, I think you could have done without it, or if you kept the prologue, take some of the extra references out, because at times it felt kind of distracting reading the story. And like, I like to assume that the reader has some level of intelligence. So that's not the choices I would have made, but that was the only reason. Like, I rated this book 4 stars, and the only reason it wasn't 5 is because of that. Because I felt like this is Snow White kind of was a little heavy handed. In the beginning, it was a little slow, but once she visits the skincare facility, things kind of pick up and things get wild. And like, there's Tom Cruise as a character at one point in time, or like someone, yeah, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. I'm gonna leave it at that. There's Tom Cruise mentionings. If you are somebody who kind of like grew up in the 80s, I think you'll like this more, because there's some references that kind of went over my head as somebody who's slightly younger than that. I'm a young millennial. I was born in 1995. So I didn't grow up in the 80s. I didn't really consider Tom Cruise like a heartthrob or anything like that. I didn't have the Top Gun obsession and stuff like that. So some of that was a miss for me, but I feel like if you are that age, then you'll like it. It'll make more sense to you than it did to me. I just like the wackiness of it. That's something I like about Mona Awad a lot, is that there's so much wackiness going on. Although was I think Bunny lends itself more to horror than Rouge does. I think Rouge is more of, I would say, gothic-y, kind of. I don't think it's as scary or as intense as Bunny, but the whole like spiraling madness thing is still done in this one, which I like. I like how she writes that. I think it's fun. I I just like it. It's a good inspiration for anybody who's trying to do like spiraling into madness, um, and like social critiques like Mona Awad. So I really like this. I really want to check out more of her books. So she has another one called All Is Well, which is a critique of how like medicine and how women's health concerns tend to be pushed aside. Although I did read one review that said that the All Is Well is very similar to the book I just read, Rouge. So I don't know if I'll enjoy it now that I've read Rouge, but I mean, that's on my list. And then there's another one of hers, and I can't remember the title fully. So if I find it, I'm going to put it on the bottom of the screen. But it's like Confessions of a Fat Girl or something like that. I'm not sure what that one is about at all. But again, those are the books that I know she has out. So I'm gonna try to read more of those, because again, I really love her writing style. I like her voice a lot. So yeah, that's on my radar. So if you're into really like zany, um, feminine descent into madness type books, check out Mona Awad. I think she's a good time. To keep this video interesting, I will show you the books I was supposed to finish this month. I think one of them you already know, but I got this one from the library. This is a newer one. It's called A Deadly Inside Scoop. This is a cozy mystery, all about the main character who is reopening her family's ice cream shop in her hometown. And she has kind of like it wasn't really successful. Her relaunch wasn't really successful because she opened it up in like fall time, I think, or winter time, and it was cold, so nobody came. But on that day, she ended up finding a dead body in a waterfall nearby, and now they're trying to figure out who done it. So I needed a relief read, especially since I've been reading this book, Bright Young Women, which is fabulous, by the way. I haven't finished it yet, but it's a chunk. See, both of them are kind of chunky. I haven't finished this yet, but this is brilliant. But there's like some heavy content in here, just because this is about somebody who survived a mass unaliving at their sorority, and they are trying to catch the guy who did it. Um, so there's a lot of women feeling unsafe in this book, and if you are a woman who has felt unsafe before, this might be a difficult read, but I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. So in between that, when I was like kind of freaking out, I told myself I was going to read something like this because this is very easygoing. This is like a cozy mystery. um, I was trying to find another series that was recommended to me that was like the same idea, except it was like based around Chinese food, and I found one of those books in the library, but it wasn't like the first one, and I think they're like chronological, so I can't just like pick up like the sixth book in a series, you know what I mean? But this is the first one. I did find the first one of this in the library, and this is very similar. um so yeah, this is my relief read, and I am this far in it. So these are the two books that I'm going to keep working on, and try to finish both of these before I start anything new. I do have a new book purchase that I posted about with the shiny cover. But this is a sequel to Legends and Lattes. It's called Bookshops and Bone Dust, and the first one is it's high fantasy, low stakes because it's cozy, and it's about these two uh, lady creatures. The main character is an orc, and I think the other one was a tiefling, and they open up a coffee shop together and fall in love. It's very sweet. This is a prequel to that. So this is about the orc main character and maybe a previous relationship she had with somebody else. So I have not started this yet. This is on my list, and I told myself I'm not going to start it until I finish these, especially since this one's a library, and you know you got to return them by a certain time. So I'm really going to try to make headway on these two. Wish me luck, because last month was, I don't know, full of distractions. Let's just say that. Um, sort of, I'm going to be transparent. I've had a rough couple of months, I think, um, this year, and I'm just chugging along. I have also been like trying to distract myself from work, but then my work is also kind of chaotic right now because I'm working on 4 projects at once, which is really unusual for me. In the past, with my first 3 books, I told myself that I was only going to do one project at a time because I didn't want to get confused with code switching. Not code switching, that's not the right word, but context switching. Context switching. Um, I didn't want to get confused, and then that all went out the window this year. And I found myself working on, short stories where I can to submit to anthologies to keep my name out in the social media universe sphere. Um, but then I'm working on 2 short story collections and a novel on top of that. So, yeah, that's what's going on in my life. So yeah, I'm overworking myself. I should read more, but it's just also hard in the summer because like I want to go outside and do things. So I don't necessarily want to stay inside to read, but I guess I could take my books with me places. But it is what it is. Here's hoping that July has more context for you guys. I'm sorry this video was like super short, but hey, that's how it is sometimes. But thank you so much for watching. Anyway, if you like this video, feel free to like it, comment down below, and share it with a friend. Or if you want to do all that and more, you could always subscribe to the channel. It would really help me out a lot. And until next time, thanks. Bye.